Hey guys, Steven here, and today I thought it might be fun to do a little interstate riding. So I'm taking a different route to work than I normally do on the bike. Well, actually, I do this one pretty regularly too. Kind of split it halfway. It just depends on if I want to go fast or not. So the silly thing about the way I ride to work, I'm a guitar teacher, so I have a 6-string electric guitar on my back. So that's kind of silly in the first place, but it's even sillier that I go on the interstate. And if you're familiar with the Atlanta area, I'm on 2 of the busier interstates. One that goes around Atlanta, which I'll be on here momentarily, and one that goes north of Atlanta. I mean, it goes all the way from Florida to Michigan, so you might be familiar with that one. But yeah, I just thought it'd be good to do a little bit of interstate riding and talk to you guys about some things that I think about while I'm on the interstate. So to me, sometimes I like interstate riding better than street riding, and other times it's just a bit stressful. So it depends on the day, and it depends on the traffic for sure. So having to stop a lot, which I'll probably have to do a little bit of today, is a little annoying, but it's not too bad. It's not too crazy. Alright, so first of all, yes, you do have to watch out for potholes. I think someone was saying this on another video, but you get a good memory of the roads. Once you see potholes, you remember where they are. And you know which lanes to avoid, and right now I'm in one of the ones I'd like to avoid. So that's why I try to get over to the fast lane here. The other thing about getting over to the fast lane that I like is that you only have cars coming at you from one side, and that's the right side. So if you kind of stay over to the right part of the lane, they can see you in their mirrors, you can kind of see them, and then you can look behind you and see if there's anybody coming up behind you. So the only thing that's a little stressful about this lane is that people will come up behind you really fast. But generally, oh, here we go, first little sign of traffic. So one thing I may do, I may put on my emergency flashers just so people know that we're about to stop. Okay. But another thing is just, yeah, you have escape routes. So if you absolutely needed to, I don't recommend riding in the shoulder, but if you absolutely need to, there's a shoulder over there. So if someone's coming up behind you and everybody's stopped in front of you, you can plow around them into the shoulder. And yeah, there's stuff that could get stuck in your tires, so I don't recommend doing it unless you have to. But it is a valuable escape route that could save your life. And then on the right-hand side, you know, I don't lane filter. It's not legal here. But if I had to, in a situation where I noticed a car coming up behind me, like we're stopped here, and I notice someone coming up in the mirrors, if I'm over to the right like this, I can go in between the cars in front of me just enough to where a person wouldn't rear end me. But you still have to watch out. People still do, you know, just normal driving things, and you just have to make sure that you're seen. The easiest way to make sure that you're seen is to be in a place where you're visible. Maybe having loud exhaust helps, I don't know. Verdict's kind of out on that one, because on the interstate, who's really listening for that? A lot of people have their music up real loud. So I don't even know if you have a Harley. I mean, these cabins are getting more insulated in these cars, and people have their music up. So I'm not sure that noise really helps that much. But I have a reflective strip on the back of my backpack and on this jacket. I think having the guitar might make me more visible, because people are like, what the heck is that, you know? So I've found that in general, I haven't had as much trouble as I thought I would on the interstate. That most people are paying attention. but every now and then you still got to be careful. Okay, so I messed up here. I basically need to get over a lane, and if you look at that, it's a pretty steep bump that I have to get over to get into that lane, and it's like this all the way down. So what I might do is I might wait until we're almost stopped so I can get a little more angle in there. But yeah, this is not ideal. I meant to get over there before that. So leaving these lanes undone like this is really a mistake. I guess I'm gonna try. That's all I can do is try, right? Let's see what happens. Okay, it wasn't that bad. It's not a bicycle tire. I gotta remember that sometimes. But yeah, you gotta watch out for things like that, because you can end up in situations where you're stuck in a lane too. And though it's rare, you know, you just gotta be careful. So this is one of the most dangerous parts of my commute, because I have to get over to get on the other interstate. So I like riding in the fast lane, like I said, because you're not surrounded by cars. But on this part of the journey, I end up in a sea of cars. And we're stopping. Okay, there's a truck behind me, so it looks like he's slowing down really good. But I just want to make sure. Yep. So usually I wait until we hit the bottom of the hill, but that lane being worked on just made me want to get over as soon as I could, because I know that they're working on it all the way down. But yeah, usually if there's a truck, I don't like changing lanes in front of them going downhill. And that goes in a car too, because, you know, they need more braking power to stop going downhill if they have a heavy load. But if they're going uphill, the hill helps them stop, even if they don't see you until a little bit later, you know. But now we're at the bottom of the hill, so I'm not too worried. This lane's a little bit tough, so I'm going to get over one more, because people trying to get on 75 will get in the lane that goes both ways, and this lane only goes to 75, and that's the interstate that goes from Florida all the way up to Michigan. So I'm not doing that long of a stretch, obviously. Ooh, that's why there's a little more traffic. A little state trooper action going on. I wonder what the legality is of having this tar over my back is. But anyway, yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that you got to look out for. So you always got to be vigilant. There are a lot of times where people are stopping. There are a lot of things like, see this ladder in the truck? It's probably fine. I'm not sure. So here's another little bit of a sketchy part. I want to make sure that I have room, because people do try to get over here. Like, watch this. I bet that guy's going to try to get over, even though I'm here. He's not signaling. Now he's signaling. You got room? But yeah, he was looking, which I really appreciate the extra caution that he had, knowing that there was a motorcycle here. So that was good, but every now and then you just got to watch for people that are like, oh no, I'm going to miss my turn. So you just got to watch out for those guys that are kind of last minute changing. You got to watch out for stuff like this. Look at the road here, man. It's so like cut up on that turn. I guess from trucks, I don't know. And then there's stuff like this oversized load. I'm gonna try to pass it real quick. Okay. Yeah, there are a lot of things to watch out for on the interstate, especially for driving during traffic. So once again, you got to stay like hyper vigilant. But there aren't many intersections. Like, for instance, now that I'm on 75, as long as I get out of the exit lane, there are very few places where the lanes merge into you. If you stay in the fast lane, there's one spot that I'll probably run out of video before I get up to there to show you. But there's one spot where the lane merges from the left, so if I stay in the fast lane, I've got to watch out there. But if I go to the lane next to the fast lane, there's no merging to worry about. Okay. What's really interesting to me, oh, you gotta watch out for stuff like these cardboard boxes that get chewed up. Oh man, the allergies are getting me. How's allergy season treating everybody? It's riding season, but it's also allergy season. I honestly thought that the allergies would bug me more. How much they're bugging my throat right now, they are bugging me. But the high pollen count is not as bad as I thought it would be. Anyway, this is kind of the commute. So I try to leave some good following distance, but sometimes it's just not possible. But right now it is. So they say to try to leave, at least 2 seconds in any time. Let's see if I'm leaving 2 seconds. 1 motorcycle, 2 motor, almost 2 seconds. They say to count like that. I do 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and it's like, oh, okay, that's exactly 2. But it might be a little shorter than 2. But yeah, I try to leave some following distance if I can. Sometimes it's like less safe to, and that sounds ridiculous, but there are people coming up behind you and they're wanting you to close the gap. Sometimes it can be a little dicey, like you just gotta play it by ear which one feels safer. But right now this feels pretty good. There's no one next to me. I'm gonna pass this person really quickly so I'm not in the blind spot for very long. You know, that kind of thing. But it's not too bad. I like to go not very fast, just a little bit over the speed limit, because everybody else seems to do that, so I try to ride with the flow of traffic, but kind of in between the flow. So, I like leaving space, and I usually like being in the fast lane. Sometimes the guitar blows around, so sometimes I'm a lane over from it. But right now, this feels pretty good. One time it wouldn't if somebody, like, veers out of the fast lane to pass the car in front of them. So I just kind of keep an eye out here and there. That's kind of the main thing, is looking forward, glancing really quickly in the mirrors. And yeah, don't speed too much or the state patrol that's out today will get ya. But I'm not really speeding, so I'm not too worried about that. And even if I was speeding, so is everybody else around me. Going a little faster than me. But yeah, there's really not that much to it other than that. Leave space. Remember that it takes a lot longer than you think it does to stop. So if you notice everybody starting to slow down and you feel unprepared for it, go ahead and get over to where you have an escape route in case you can't stop quickly. There's been 1 or 2 times, probably 2, where I've really felt the ABS kick in. So I'm glad I have it on this bike, because there was one time where I'm pretty sure it would have locked up and been bad for me. But most of the time, you just leave enough following distance and you just stay hyper vigilant. I know a lot of people like listening to music in their helmet and doing this, that, and the other, and dancing around and stuff. I tend to really like focusing. Hey, look at the horses. That's pretty cool. Bye, horsies. But yeah, as long as you look around, as long as you stay focused on what you're doing, it's pretty straightforward. The craziest thing about the Interstate, if you've never ridden on the Interstate before, is just how the wind feels when you're riding. Like, it really does feel like a roller coaster, you know, like when you're rushing down, you really feel that wind. And I know some people say, well, that's why you get a fairing, or that's why you have a windshield, duh. But I don't, so it feels like a roller coaster. I like that feeling. I'm unless I get hit by a rock or something. And I have had rocks get kicked up at me. So that's why I try to, that's another reason to be in this lane, especially over here in Georgia. The trucks aren't allowed in this lane. Like, we're slowing down, you'll be able to read the sign up ahead. They break the law a little, because sometimes it says the 2 left lanes, but in general they stay out of this lane. So it says no trucks over 6 wheels allowed in 2 left lanes. Well, if you look ahead, like, I know this one back here only has 4 wheels, so they're fine. But if you look ahead, there are some trucks in the second lane over. So, 1 lane to the right of me. And they really shouldn't be. But I don't know if something changed and they just didn't update the signs, or if they just know they can get away with it so they don't care. But most of them are pretty good about staying out of the left lane unless it's a really quick pass. Then occasionally I've seen some do that. North of here though, not usually in this congested area. So you do have to watch out. Okay, and then another thing. I hear people say things about trucks. Like they create a wind vortex and you'll get sucked under. I mean, you just saw me pass in the right side of the lane next to a truck. It's fine. If you're going a little bit faster, if the truck's going a little bit faster, you'll feel it. And you do want to have, like, control over your bike. But it's not really like a wind vortex kind of thing where it'll suck you under. As long as you're, like, steady on your bike, good. Oh, this might hurt. There's a bump somewhere over here that's going to get me a little bit. But, yeah. Oh, is that a dog? That really makes me mad. Hey people, if you let your dog ride in the back of your car or your truck and you have the windows all the way down, you're like, oh, they don't jump, they're good. Sometimes they do. So don't leave the crack in the window big enough for them to jump out. You want to let them, like, have a little wind, fine, crack the windows for them. But don't have them riding in the back of the truck either. Because you can say, oh, they're fine, until they see something on the side they want to chase. They might try to jump out to chase something, not really thinking about it. Just instinct, you know? So, that's your public service announcement. If you're a dog owner, be good to your pups. I'm a cat owner. I'm not a dog owner, but I still like dogs. Be nice to them. Yes, Barrett Parkway. So this is the Kennesaw area. This means I'm about halfway through the commute. I'm basically just going to keep riding until my battery runs out, or the memory card fills up, one or the other. It's not really safe to do things like stop the video from recording on me while you're on the interstate. I'm going to try to say hi to that motorcyclist back there. I'm not sure you can see him in the mirror or anything, but I'm going to try to give him the wave, but I don't really feel like making my bike engine brake harder than it needs to. Well, it needs to anyway, so here we are. But yeah, notice that, like, it takes a while for the bike to slow down. I try to match gears as I'm slowing down. We might stop altogether, so I'm giving room just in case we do. I'm looking behind me as well to make sure that the car behind me knows that we might be stopping. They look like they're giving me a good following distance, but as we slow down even more, I'm going to check in the mirror even more. Yeah. So that's the other thing. You might be like, why is he shifting so much? Well, the Rebel 500 just, it has a really, like, yeah, there are 6 speeds, right? But this is why I think of it more of as a commuter bike. The manual tells you to go into 6th gear at 37 miles per hour. Notice I'm in 4th gear going 37. Usually I'm in 5th by then, and then I go into 6th at about 45 miles an hour like I just did. Unless I'm using the engine braking, and then I might leave it in 5th knowing that I have to slow down, like if I'm on a curvy road, for instance. I might just leave it in fifth if I'm going 45 or below. But yeah, this bike has a very small gear ratio, so I know some people are like, you know, why are you shifting so soon, blah blah blah, but if they had a Rebel 500 they'd understand. It's just geared like that. It's like the CBR 500, those have the same engine. They have a totally different gearing ratio, and I guess they're tuned differently, so you can get going a lot quicker on those, and you don't have to shift as much just around town. But I don't know, I get pretty good gas mileage. I'm pretty happy with it, and I'm never really trying to accelerate super fast, so it's okay that mine only does 5.4 seconds for 0 to 60 if you're the best at it. For me, in reality, I think I've gotten 6.8 as my fastest, so that's fast enough for me. I haven't found a situation where I've needed it yet. Everybody always says, oh, you want to be able to get out of the way quickly. It's like, yeah, most of the time you can, as long as you're not angering car riders, fine. But anyway, guys, I think that about does it for me. So I may leave the camera on a little bit longer, but about 20 minutes into the ride, I think that's pretty good. So I want to thank y'all for watching. I hope y'all are enjoying your day. Maybe you're getting a little bit of riding in this really good weather, avoiding the rain, just having a good time. But please subscribe for more. I'm trying to do one of these a week. At this point, we're basically, I'm just going to ride and talk off the top of my head, and if I say stupid things, it gets left in, and you just kind of get to hang out with me on my ride. It might be to work, it might be somewhere else. Usually it's going to be to work though. But I'll try to have a topic for you. If you have any ideas for topics, the things I could just talk about off the top of my head, or things you're curious about, just let me know in the comments below and I'll check them out. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys on the next one.